Welcome to episode 3 of the Epic Sweat and Tears podcast. My name is Ryan Deviant, and here's my co-host, Nutritional Freak, aka my best friend Stephanie. Steph, take
Hi
it away.
guys, what's up? I have two very special guests on this podcast today. We have Marco Manzi and we have Alexia.
Yo.
They're both
Hi,
going to be talking
guys.
about. They're both going to be talking about themselves. They're going to introduce themselves. We're going to ask some questions. They're the first two guests of this podcast, so I'm very excited. I went to school with both of them, and I love them both very much. So I'm going to have Marco talk first, and he'll talk about his brand and everything, and then Alexia will talk, and then we'll go from there. So go take the floor. Introduce yourselves.
What's up, guys? My name is Marco Manzi, and I am a nutrition student at Montclair State. I met Ryan. I've met Ryan when I was like, how old was I when I
We
met
were
him?
in 4th grade when we met.
4th grade,
That's
so we're like
crazy.
9 years old. And I met Steph last year, 2019, in class.
Yes. Yep.
She's such a joy. So anyway, just to get about myself, I started my nutrition journey probably when I was like maybe 14, 15 years old. I was a little chubby, a little overweight.
Or not.
Didn't. So I just, I started to eat healthy and move the weights, and I just got addicted to it. So it just became my thing. And I wanted to know, not just like, I wanted to know why food did what it did to your body. So I chose the nutrition route, and I love it.
That's awesome. And then what are you doing right now as far as your job and what you do? Talk about it.
Well, right now I do not have a job. I just got laid off the chiropractor.
Oh, word? Why?
Yeah, they just didn't bring me back. I'm not important enough.
Are you working at your uncle's place?
Yeah. But this
well,
pandemic did.
Not Corona, I swear.
Yeah, the Corona took away my job, but it definitely helped me out because it helped me start a brand.
Yes. And
So I just realized
Okay.
that nutrition past the bachelor's degree, I'm not going to pursue it. I want to go to physical therapy school. So I want to get my doctorate of physical therapy because I just feel like there's more opportunities outside of the applied nutrition concentration. So that's what I'm going to do.
That's awesome. That's great. And then what's your Instagram for the peeps to follow?
You can follow it at RDA Performance Labs. RDA is an acronym, which I cannot tell you. It's secretive.
He signed
How
an
did you create
NDA.
that
It's not
name?
allowed.
Yeah, what's the name? What's the idea? Where'd you get it from?
So it kind of morphs all the aspects of performance. You got the nutrition aspect, you have the recovery aspect, and then you have the performance. So you got the physical therapy, the eating healthy, and the weight room. I feel like all those things have to go together. You can't have one without the other. So that's how it all started. I have love for all three aspects of performance.
Awesome. Lex, take it away.
Well, first off, I want to thank Ryan and Steph for inviting me on.
Of course.
I'm the creator of Total Health Nutrition, and I started that in 2015. First as like an Instagram page, just kind of to like share healthy recipes and, share like motivational stuff. And then now I created it into a business, and it's been going for probably about 6 months now, where I created my website and I have clients and it's my full-time job and I absolutely love it.
Awesome. And they could follow you at that also.
Total Health Nutrition.
Yes. And you do meal preps too.
Yeah, so I do. Okay, so a rundown of all my services. Gonna take a second because I have a
Go
lot.
for it. Take your
I
time.
do individualized meal plans. I do one-on-one coaching, nutrition consultations, and then I do pay what you can options, which is for like, let's say people in low-income areas where they can't really afford to pay for a nutritionist or a dietitian. That's where I'll come in and they can pay me like whatever they can afford. And then I also have an 8-week vegan program where I help clients transition into a vegan diet.
Awesome.
Yeah,
She's my favorite vegan. She's my favorite vegan. And the only, I guess, non-irritating vegan that I've ever met.
I find myself irritating, but
You're not that irritating.
It's like with a little bit of light.
Not
Like
the,
I don't know.
compared to the others, not at all.
not the kind that shoves it down your throat.
No, she's a very she's passionate about what she does, but she doesn't force it down anybody's throats and doesn't harass anybody. And her recipes are amazing and her page is amazing to follow. Same with Marco's. So definitely give that a follow whenever you guys can. And going through questions and stuff before we get started. And obviously Marco kind of touched it on it a little bit, but Lex, you work out a little. you do like
Okay,
other
so
stuff.
for me working out, okay, do you want me to go into that? Is it okay if I like talk a little bit about it? Okay.
Yeah,
It's like a lot. Okay.
yeah,
Because it's like what got me into nutrition, let's say.
yeah.
Okay, so I started working out my junior year in high school, kind of as just like a way to like, get stronger. I was a cheerleader, I played soccer, I pitched for softball. So I was doing 3 sports at the time. So I just kind of wanted to like go to the gym to like build strength, especially during softball season in my legs. It's when I started to like, start hitting big, and I was hitting home runs. I was like, oh, I like this. I like working out. So it started out as a way to kind of like get stronger. And going to the gym is what got me into like nutrition, learning about macronutrients and micronutrients and calories. So I started working out in the morning. My junior and senior year, I would go to the gym every morning at like 5 a.m., which right there, that's kind of like an unhealthy approach because I would not.
Yes.
So in some ways, it's like, I get what you're saying. It's like super motivated, right? And that's how we look at things like, oh, this person's super motivated. They're really driven. But then sometimes along the way, you can get a little bit obsessive, into those like things. So I was working out every day at like 5 a.m. before school. I would go to school. I'd be exhausted. Then I was on 2 cheerleading teams. So I would have practice after practice. So, and I always been like a fairly like thin person or fit person. Like I like to say, I came out of the womb with abs, but like really, I think I did. So like I've always just been naturally like fit, and tall and like thin figure, you can say. So I didn't need to work out to lose weight. I didn't need to eat healthy to lose weight because I already was, healthy. You know what I mean, in a certain extent. So I started to, incorporate, little healthier things. So I like gave up dairy, and I would have almond milk. I don't know if you did this stuff, but like Special K cereal, I think that was like a thing when we were in high school.
Yeah, I ate a lot of that to lose weight.
Ones.
That
it's
so Cheerios, yeah, it was
so for me, like those things started out as a way to like, just be healthier. I gave up fast food. I gave up soda. So I've had like 8 years, like no soda. I gave up Burger King, all these things that like, we would do in high school to like socialize. So I would just be like there, like, not eating anything, not eating that stuff. So it started out as an approach to like be healthier. But then along the lines, it got into a way of like obsessive eating and like wanting to be skinnier and thinner when that was unhealthy for me. Like I'm at a healthy weight now. I was probably like 20 pounds thinner at the time. So it just like, I just remember at one point I was like, wow, every like week I just kept losing more weight. Like I couldn't stop losing weight. Like I was probably
becoming addicting.
Yeah, I was probably like, but at one point I couldn't even control. I was like, oh my gosh, like I just kept losing weight and kept losing weight. I probably weighed, my lowest was 112 pounds, and I'm 5'7.5". So do the math. That BMI is like, underweight,
Yeah.
And now I'm 135 pounds, and this is like healthy. This is my sustainable weight. This is what I should be at, you know what I mean, to be healthy, give or take.
Yeah.
So it started out with those healthy approaches, like, I'm sure all of you guys have, we all have our own story that got us into nutrition and health. I'm sure if we were to go through the list, it started out, with one of these things. I know Stephanie and you have talked about it, like an eating disorder. So
yeah.
I wasn't like, I was like in denial, I guess you could say. Like I just didn't know. And then it was brought to my attention. I was like, and I started to think, I like look in the mirror. Like I remember looking in the mirror. I was like, I don't feel like I look that skinny. But now looking back at these pictures, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was so skinny. And a lot of the health problems came from it. I was cold all the time. I remember I missed like 40 days of school my senior year because I was just so cold. I had like 2 sweaters on, but I was like freezing, and I couldn't explain it to people. The nurse would just look at me, and I'm like, I'm so cold. I was like shaking, my lips would turn purple. And then I lost my period. I lost my period for probably like 3 years. I probably just had it back for like 2 years. So even when I recovered from the eating disorder, let's say like 6 months or so, but I didn't get my period back for a while. So people don't realize, like, when you're losing X amount of weight, and it's gonna affect you for like a long period of time, just like it did with me. I have so many issues. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then with hormones, and then acne, like from losing so much weight, my body wasn't getting enough fat. I was eating less than 50 grams of carbs. I mean, like just super things that kind of like hurt my body. And then let's see. So then my senior year in college, I go to Temple University, not for nutrition. I was going there for occupational therapy. I was there probably for about let's say a month, not even like through
Yeah,
2-3
you're saying
weeks.
like a couple
And
weeks. Yeah.
yeah, and I had to like go home because I had insomnia, I had anxiety. My hands were like this shaking. I guess because I was having so much caffeine and such little calories that like my body was like out of whack, literally. Yeah, yeah.
We won't- Guilty as charged.
God,
Not
darn.
eating enough calories. I couldn't even eat this like the food that like the school would make, whatever, like the cafeteria, because it like had like, you know, salt and whatever it was cooked with, like processed things that it was cooked with. I couldn't eat that because I would get deathly sick because I was eating such a clean diet that my body couldn't, and I wasn't vegan at the time. I just want to state that. I ate meat at the time, you know, a lot of ground turkey, egg whites, delis, all the things that you see, you know, all these health gurus eating.
So Ryan's diet.
Yeah, basically.
It's like what low calorie
Ryan's
food
diet.
is. Yeah, it's like low calorie, I guess, you know, high protein, low carb diet, I guess you can say. So I had to go home, and then, you know, my parents were like, Lex, I think, you know, you need to go to therapy. So I went to therapy, and then I also saw a dietitian one time. We had a conversation. I kind of knew what I needed to do. I just needed someone to like say, no, like you got to do this. So I saw a dietitian, one meeting with her. She was like, incorporate more carbs. And she was like, literally just incorporate more carbs. You'll gain the weight back. But it was really the mentality part of it. I think I knew what it was more the mentality part of it. So I started to do like, you know, actual therapy. And then I just saw the dietitian once. I would incorporate to gain the weight back. I was like, all right, Lex, I'm gaining the weight back. So I started to eat like sweet potatoes every night for dinner, like a whole sweet potato. I just started incorporating, you know, like when people are suffering from eating disorder, you can't just start eating a lot of food that, you know, that's not healthy for the body. So you have to slowly incorporate, increase your calories. So that's what I did. You know, I did it by myself. I saw a dietitian one time and I was like, she really inspired me. I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. So for 6 months, I did that. And I was also going to the gym, but mainly like, you know, doing high weight stuff and not like running as much. And so I was lifting, like trying to lift more and just try to get stronger. So 6 months I was able to gain the weight back, and then I was like, I'm gonna go to school for nutrition. I applied to Montclair, I got accepted, and then
here we are.
And
that's crazy.
My master's program for holistic nutrition, to try to, because holistic nutrition really focuses on not just the physical aspect, but like the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual, which is kind of like what, you know, my passion is, just from stemming from the eating disorder, which is, you know, mainly caused by the mental, you know, all these things that go into it.
You know, it's crazy because nobody really talks about being obsessive over like reaching their goals. I feel like it's very like not talked about in the social aspect of like on Instagram or like on Twitter or anything. It's more or less, oh, you lost all this weight, like good for you, like you're skinny, that's great, like you're fit, like you're doing great.
But people are like,
they don't shine light on the fact that, hey, you do have an eating disorder, and how do we overcome this? People that are super super skinny, they see themselves in the mirror as a different person, as opposed to like me looking at you. I would have been like, oh, you look fine, if I wasn't educated enough. Same thing with me. When I was 70 pounds heavier than I was now, I looked at myself, I was like, I'm not fat, I'm fine. Like, you don't see it until somebody really comes up to you and says something.
The problem that we have as individuals and our society is that we look at a person based on how they look, their appearance, and that's how we're judging someone. And I always say that you can't judge a person by looking at them, if they're healthy, to a certain extent, obviously, if they're healthy, you know what I mean? Healthy and, you know, comes from a lot of different things. It's not just how you look. There's so many other factors that go into this.
Exactly. I mean, Ryan and I both, like, we spoke about this the first episode, I believe, about like dieting and everything, and surrounding the people that we met through school, and you guys could both attest to this too, is just everybody does a different set thing. There's keto, there's vegan, there's vegetarian, there's just eating eggs or whatever the case is. Then Marco brought up keto the first episode, and there was somebody in one of my classes he's like, oh, you know, I believe in keto, I've been doing it for 3 years. And it's insane because everybody has their own certain beliefs and their passion for certain things. But when does it come down to how much is too much and how much is like overly excessive? And to to anybody's point, to yours, seeing it from like a eating disorder, like a borderline, I'm too skinny, and not knowing if I am too skinny until somebody really came up to you and said something.
Yeah.
It's that little switch in your mind that I spoke about with weight gain, though. So it's completely different. People just think like, oh, when you gain weight, that's
but just because
normal.
you're eating a lot.
Yeah,
or,
that's
you know what I mean?
normal.
But it's literally all your mental game. And then that brings me to talking about like veganism. When I found veganism, that's kind of what taught me to like value health and value like, you know, what I'm putting into my body. Is it going to nourish my body? Is it going to help me to live a long, happy, healthy life? And that's how I view nutrition now. So finding veganism and the vegan lifestyle has, you know, brought so much light into my life and focus on, you know, obviously I was like 2 years already like past the eating disorder when I've been vegan for 3 years now. When I, you know, just learned about veganism before I went veganism. So I guess you can say that veganism is like, it's a lifestyle. You know, I feel like it shouldn't really be compared to any other, you know, like diet. The keto diet per se and all these other things. But yeah, I would really say veganism has definitely shed light on just like health and well-being, and, you know, questioning everything that I put into my body and being really conscious. Like, what is this going to offer me? What is this value to me in my life and, you know, my health and, you know, living a long life.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna ask, but you kind of touched in on it. I was gonna ask. I'll go into Marco too. But what made you want to start lifting? Like, what was that key thing that you were like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna just go lift weights and see what happens. And from my perspective, obviously, I worked with primarily guys when I started work. I think after my weight loss, so they told me like, we're gonna go to the gym, we're gonna lift heavy, and you're gonna just like it. And I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna like it or not. I'm kind of scared. I feel like I'm gonna look all bulky, and that's a misconception with a lot of females and men, you know, women in general. And coming from like a guy, there's a lot of guys that don't even want to lift weights either. So what made, say, Marco, you can answer this because you haven't really been talking, but you can answer it. What made you go into like wanting to start lifting weights instead of just, hey, I'm gonna just go for a run and that's it, call it a day?
Right. Well, I feel like for me personally, you just kind of see people around you, they do it, their bodies change. So I was like, let's say maybe 12, 13. I was like, I'm going to give it a try. Let's just see what happens. So you start doing it, you know, push-ups, sit-ups in the basement for about a couple of weeks, a month, 2 months, and you see changes. Definitely see changes.
Yo, why was that?
And you just...
I was gonna say, did you and Ryan like share a basement and you started doing push-ups and sit-ups all the time?
I was doing curls with an easy bar at first, and then
oh no.
Yeah.
I would say 7th grade, 8th grade, I would wake up before school, so I would wake up at 6 a.m. I would do a workout till like 7:30 every single morning, Monday to Friday, and it was fun for me. I mean, I didn't know how to work out. I would do it time. I would do like 30 minutes abs, 30 minutes upper body something, whether it's push-ups or, you know, like a dumbbell. And it was fun for me, and I just stuck with it, and that was it. I was hooked.
And what are you doing now as far as your training goes? Obviously, we'll talk about COVID and everything in a little bit. I'll have Ryan ask you guys some questions about COVID and quarantine shutdown, because, you know, it's going to happen eventually, and I don't want to say it, but
Yeah, please don't. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, I'm finally back in the gym now.
How's that going?
It's fine. It's all right. I mean, I go to LA Fitness in Wayne, and
oh yeah, if you ever see Marco, now you just opened up like, hey, if you want to see Marco at LA Fitness in Wayne, go for it.
He's there at this time.
To find Marco, you can find him here.
You can find
That's
him
the
here.
first real gym that I actually have been to, because I went to, well, not real gym. I went to Planet Fitness.
Oh, we all went to Planet Fitness.
Oh,
I started there when I was 18.
How is it? I've never. My gym was Retro Fitness in North Arlington.
If you want pizza on Tuesdays, go to
Monday. Pizza Monday, Bagel
Monday.
Tuesdays, bro. Come on.
Planet Fitness is not a bad thing. It's a good place to go.
It's a good starter gym.
When you're starting out, you learn gym etiquette, you learn the basics, you learn how to do all this, you learn how to socialize. But once you learn all that, it's for a certain level. And once you get past that level, the beginner level, you got to go someplace else.
Marco, I have a question.
What's up?
Ooh.
So, okay. I remember during the summer, you were with Brian. What gym were you at?
Brian Silva, it was...
Link?
No, this was not during the summer. This was February, like right before the pandemic.
No, but then there was a time after that too.
That was in his
Oh, I can
backyard.
remember seeing that backyard. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he hit
it
me
was
up. He
all
was
the
like,
grass.
"Yo, you want to go like train at an underground gym?" I was like, "No, I'm chilling."
It was in his backyard. Yeah,
I'm
it
good,
was all-
thank you. That's a little sus. I'm good,
It was
thanks.
a social distance in his backyard. I have the agility ladder, all that stuff, a couple weights. So let's just fuck around. Let's just do this.
hmm But
It
like
worked for now.
primarily right now, you're doing. What are you training? Like how are you training?
So right now I'm doing something. I'm doing uppers, lowers, and accessories. So what I'm doing is my legs and my core twice a week. I'm doing my uppers, so it's chest, back, and shoulders twice a week, and then I do my accessories, which is my calves and my arms.
Okay, that's a good split. Yeah, yeah.
And
Lex,
I'm
what
also
are you
just
doing?
using. I
Oh,
wasn't
sorry,
done.
Marco. Are you still going?
Oh, you go. Yeah, Michael, you go.
Planet Fitness, they don't have any barbells, so I love the barbell now. I use that almost for everything.
I forget that they don't have barbells there.
Fifth machine.
Do they really not?
I mean, the strength machine is good, but it doesn't get. I mean, it's all right. It's whatever.
It doesn't.
It
Get
doesn't
the
work
job
for
done.
me.
Doesn't get the job done.
Barbells where it's at.
But Lex, what are you doing as far as like the gym and everything, or you're not going right now?
Okay, so for me, after going to the gym religiously for like, let's say 2 years, with the eating disorder, and I went for a little bit after, like while in recovery, and then after. But now I kind of move more into like movement, I call it, rather than like fitness, weightlifting, and all that. And I think that's all great, especially like I would consider you guys to be like fitness athletes, right? Like, would you guys agree to that? Right, that's what I'm saying.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
so
I'm gonna
me-
record that and put it on like a.
So for me, I
Bookmark
really
and
love to
save.
do like movement that like makes me feel good physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, all those aspects. I do a lot of yoga, I do a lot of meditation, I go on lots of walks, running, hikes, and then I also work out. I have my parents' gym. They live in an apartment complex, so they have a gym. Especially like since COVID started, like I actually did sign up for Planet Fitness, my boyfriend and I, but we never got the chance to go because then everything went to shut down. And then during the pandemic, we have like some stuff downstairs in the basement, so we were doing a little bit of that. Like we have a bike and barbells and stuff, so we were like working out during the whole pandemic. But now I go use like my parents gym apartment here and there. Cool. But I like to do legs there pretty much because I like to lift heavy with my legs, and I like to do weight lifts, but I have that stuff here, so I kind of just work out at home, like in my backyard, like settle like. So I don't know if you guys probably don't agree with me. I can feel like this, but for me, when I think of the gym, I think it should be a positive space. I think it should be like, we're all there for our own individual goals. We're 100%. All there working on to like, better ourselves, whether that be physically or, maybe health, like nutrition wise, like whatever you're there for, you're all there for your own goals. But for me, anytime I feel in a gym, I just don't feel that energy. I feel like a negative vibe. I feel like a lot of people, both men and women, are super judgmental. And also I've had like a lot of men harass me at gyms before. So I have like a lot of like negatives with gyms, but I do, as I'm getting older, I'm like, I love like working out though. I truly do love it. It's just the whole, it's just me about protecting my energy and stuff. So, yeah, but I do want to try going back to the gym.
Wait, time out.
Getting cold. Go ahead.
If anybody says they love leg day, they're either A, sick in the head, B, not trying hard enough, or
Bro, why are you talking about me like that?
Whoa,
leg day is fun. I like it
because if you like leg day, that means you haven't thrown up. That means you haven't gotten dizzy. That means you haven't pushed yourself hard. Because I used to like leg day too, but now I don't like it anymore because I just kill myself.
Ryan,
yeah, I mean, I get really sore. I can't walk the next few days, but it's like a fun feeling.
Wait, hold on.
You cannot
like
leg day.
Let me get the notebook out real quick. Let me see. Hold up. Hold on.
You cannot like day. You have to.
No.
Have you guys ever? Well, you guys don't wear heels. I'm assuming maybe you do if that's your thing. Awesome. But heels. Steph, have you ever done leg days and then had to walk in like heels?
It is not a fun
I've
time.
tried.
I can't even walk like barefoot.
Have you ever, since we all went to Montclair, have you ever done legs and then go walk
and then walked
up
the stairs?
Long ass stairs? Nope. That was like.
How about the rec center? I barely
walking
work
up
out
those
there.
stairs was brutal every day, let alone after leg day.
I
was like, I have asthma, so I'm like dying walking up the stairs in the freezing cold.
And everybody's like walking around you because they're like, this bitch is going too slow. We're gonna
or like walking on your ass, like their face is like in your ass, literally.
I know days is really cold though. Oh my god.
No,
Oh my god, I did not miss that.
no, I don't miss it. Thank God we both graduated. But I was gonna say, like, I
I'm
actually
going
spoke
back to
about
campus.
this. Oh yeah, no, I actually spoke about this. About just we spoke about gym etiquette, me and Ryan, and coming
I
from,
hate those people.
yeah, coming from the perspective of like a girl and
Yeah.
being, I told everybody on the last episode, if you're not comfortable going to the gym and you just don't like being there, just you have to like revert your energy back to something else that you feel is more
Yeah.
comfortable for you.
Yeah.
And that's why what you're doing is really good, but not a lot of people can like own up to that, just like
Yeah.
to come into terms with that. And I mean, when I first started, I went to Blink, and the guys at Blink would be like, "Oh, you definitely can't lift that. Like, let me help you." And then I'm not there. I'm not there for that. I still get that sometimes. Obviously, with working at a gym now, it's nothing like that from like a commercial gym standpoint. Like from working at LA Fitness, a lot of guys are creeps. I'm not saying to these two men on the phone, but just in general,
You know what they don't do over there?
What?
At this gym, bro, all the weights are mixed up. The dumbbell racks, it's so
God, we
annoying.
can talk about that.
That is
If you
Rack your fucking weights.
Anybody who works at this gym, if you hear this, fix the rack, bro. It's so annoying. Like the
Re-rack your
95s,
weights.
the 95s are next to the 5s, which are next to the 25, which are next to the
God,
50s.
bro,
Can
it'd
you
be
just,
like that.
bro? It's so
so
and they don't clean them.
annoying.
But that's
They
for
don't
another day.
clean. That is for another day. But yeah, I mean, me and Lex, well, I should say Lex and I, let me correct my grammar. Lex and I, we are out of school, but I feel that to ask both of you, and Ryan can answer this also, but with handling everyday stress, since we all went through it, how did you guys just find days that you got out of that hole and you're like, I'm going to work out today? And I know I have a lot of shit to do, but I have to get this done. Like, what pushed you to like do that? How did you handle your own stress?
I'll start that. So
Okay.
during like the shutdown, I used to train fasted every day. So like right when I woke up, like I'd brush my teeth, I'd get changed, dry scoop pre-workout or G Fuel, and I would train for like 3-4 hours. So I'd work out and then I'd do like a 3-mile walk or run. And now on Fridays, my Friday morning is push pull, so that's like 2.5 hours of straight compounds for back and chest. It's painful. And I do abs. And my Friday, it's always busy for some reason. I don't know, just how it happens. And during the week, I wake up at 6:30 every morning. I'm at the gym by 7. I do 45 minutes of cardio on an empty stomach. Come home, do abs, do some school stuff, go about my day, then go back. It's just when I was 14, like after I worked out for like a month or so, I was like, holy shit, like I can't, like I can't go a day without training, because for especially now, like my own mental health, I posted something from Steel on like Thursday or Friday last week. I don't remember what it was on my story on Instagram, but it's like for me now, it's beyond looking good, but it's more or less like getting my mental in line when I really need to, because like there's no better way to relieve stress than lifting heavy and just having like death metal or any type of music playing in your head. For me,
discretion
anyway.
advised for Ryan only.
For me, yeah.
For Ryan only.
But like on days that I'm busy though, like I go in and I do, I don't want to say the bare minimum, but I do a lot, but my breaks are really short.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do like 15 to 30-second breaks.
I feel that.
I mean, yeah, with Marco with school, I mean, we had a semester together and it was a little rough, but you could talk about like how you kind of overcame it. You're like, I'm gonna do this today. I don't care what's gonna stop me. I have to get it done. Like what you
in terms of training in general. Well, I mean,
skill. How did you kind of like figure out school, gym, and kind of manage it all together? What made you want to do that? Because you didn't have to do that.
During the semester, I really didn't go to the gym at all. Maybe once a week. I just didn't. I would always just do homework all the time. I put the gym to the side. Honestly. And to stay motivated, it's like there are so many days where if I don't want to go, I just don't go. And if I don't feel right, I don't want to go into the gym and half-ass it. If I know I don't feel good that day, then I'm just not gonna go.
Got it.
Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I am in school. I'm doing my master's in holistic nutrition. So I'm a full-time grad student and my business is full-time. So I have roughly 3 to 4 clients each week, sometimes more. I also meal prep for clients on Sundays. So I do like a lot of different things. For me, like a way to say, like, you know, to stay on top of your goals, you know, whether that's going to the gym and you have work, school, whatever you're doing, I guess I would say just make a schedule. Like I've always been like a super oriented person, like with scheduling things. So every day I just have some kind of like movement twice a day. Like I try to do 2 times a day, some kind of movement, and I just write it down and I do it. That's what I do. I plan out my days the day before. So like I'll say, all right, take Sophie for a short walk in the morning, and then we're gonna do like, you know, a few miles in the park later on in the afternoon, and I'll do some yoga at night. You know what I mean? So I just plan it the day before. I think it's all about scheduling and, you know, just taking that initiative to say like, hey, I'm going to do this and this. But I also think like what Marco said, it's really important that like if you need a day off, whether that be from school, work, or the gym, I think you should take it. I think you deserve, you know, a rest. I think we all deserve to, you know, prioritize our mental health and listen to our bodies. And if you need the day off, take it.
Exactly. I agree with that. And I mean, coming from an aspect of being in school full time, being at work full time, and trying to juggle everything all between and trying not to mentally break down, which has happened probably 100,000 times. And we all are still probably going through it, and we all went through it. Just having to know what our limits are and trying to push through them. And some days are better than others, and we all can attest to that also. And kind of just realizing where your priorities are, but writing everything down is just so important. I've been realizing that from work. Just having coaches around me saying, you know, you can say something that you're gonna do, and if you don't remember it because you didn't write it down, you're not gonna get it done. You're gonna it's gonna just slip out of your mind. So having a journal and having something where if something comes in your mind, just write it down. That way you have like a list of things to do. Cross it 100%. Out. Feel more accomplished throughout your day instead of feeling so demotivated. That could be something that can bring up your motivation in anything that you do. And obviously going into, Ryan can ask you about the shutdown, the first shutdown. That for all of us, Lex, Marco, and I, we were on FaceTime, I think, every night. just about trying to release our stress. We were also still in school, and we were trying to figure out
thinking about
everything in between. So Ryan will ask a question, and we'll obviously all talk about our thoughts and opinions, since it's going to probably happen again. We don't know, but we'll see.
All right, so
Uncle Joe.
Like, what did you guys do? Like, because me, I know with like school and stuff, like if you really know me, my relationship with school is not the best. But like with school, I don't want to say I was stressed out, because I'm like, I'll do it the night before it's due kind of person. So nothing really, very bad habit. So no work really fazed me for school. But like when you guys would get really stressed out and like being in like isolation, I guess, or being at home 24/7, like that gets to you. Like I know in the first like month or so, like I was like, this is awful, like this sucks. It's been more than 2 weeks, whatever the governor said, to flatten the curve, whatever it was. Like I was really stressed out just because like physiologically, like, okay, lifting at home, like, yeah, it's okay, gets the job done, you know, you get by. But like that compared to a gym and being able to lift heavier, I'm like, I know my body is not gonna, it's gonna accept what I'm doing, but it's not gonna get the full thing that you do in a gym. So like what did you guys do if you worked out or like did anything to help de-stress?
Lex, you wanna go? You want me to go?
Oh, I'll go. Sorry, I thought Steph would go first because I thought she said she was responding.
No, you're good. You can go.
Oh, okay. Well, first off, like, I don't know about you guys, but could you have possibly ever imagined like what we're going through, like, you know, previously being on lockdown? Like, could you imagine saying like, no,
absolutely
like, you need to stay home because there's a deadly virus? So just first off, that is just like, wow. And then being home, like you said, Ryan, you know, it's definitely, and even like with you, like a gym was a part of your life. So I feel like it's all about the environment for you, like not having that environment that you're used to and like that social interaction. It was just like a daily habit for you, I guess, say. And then now having to do it at home, I can see why that was a stressor. For me, I was taking 7 classes at the time to like wrap up my undergrad. Sorry, my dog's in the room.
Me too.
I was taking 7 classes at the time to wrap up my undergrad. So that's like the most credits you can take. And I have done it before, but not online. So that transition was a lot. What I kind of did was I got ready for my day, and I do that now. So I'll wake up and I'll get ready for my day as if I'm going somewhere, because I work fully from home and my grad program is fully online, just like kind of what we were doing in our last semester. So what I would do every morning, I'd wake up, get ready, get into workout clothes. My boyfriend and I, we would go down to our basement, either work out or when the weather started to get nice, I think it was pretty much nice, pretty much all throughout, quarantine, like kind of, right? It was like March,
Kind
around
of.
April.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't
We
that
started
bad.
working out in our backyard. And I would do like yoga every day outside, and I absolutely loved it. And I kind of realized that I love working out outside. Like, I have asthma, so just like breathing in that fresh air was like just amazing to me, getting my vitamin D. Like, it wasn't that bad for me. I think I was really busy with the 7 classes. And I got to spend quality time with my boyfriend. We were on quarantine together with our dog. And I actually did go see my parents. So the only places I would go were like the grocery store, and I would go see my parents. So that little breakup, like once a week, I would go to my parents to see them. That little like breakup was like good for me. It's kind of like what I need to get out the house. I kind of like being home. But obviously I didn't get to see my friends for a while, and I missed you guys, like, our routine. I didn't think that my college career would end. My last time sitting in the classroom, like, I'm so keen on these things. Like, I was like, I didn't know that my last time sitting in the classroom at MSU, that was going to be my last time.
Yeah, I remember.
Like, you know what I mean? You just, yeah, it's
keep
weird.
going, keep going.
Sorry. And you kind of just realize, it kind of just made me like, just appreciate things more, because I'm always someone, I'm like, in the moment, I'm like, I hate this. Like, I have really bad anxiety. So like going to school was like, I'd probably cry every day, to be honest. So, but I kind of just, the things that I miss the most were just like the interactions with like friends and stuff. But I kind of did, work out, not every day, but I worked out, a good amount. I just woke up, got ready, and just pretended that I was going somewhere, but I was staying home. And I think that kind of helped. It's all about, mental game.
Mental, yeah.
I remember sitting here, like, I don't know what I was doing, probably some content related stuff, and like I looked at my school email. I don't check my school email. And like I saw the email that they were like, so spring break's being extended a week, and we're going
Extended.
I was so hyped.
We were all so excited.
Oh my
I was
God.
so
Little did
excited.
I know it was for a bad thing.
And they were like, okay, we're going totally online, and I was like, oh, in way. And like the only reason I say that is because like I didn't have like a choice on whether or not I wanted to go to school, and like right now my situation, like, it hasn't changed in the last 3 years, because it's a whole complicated issue. But like I always talked about like taking like classes online and stuff, and like skipping the commute to school and then looking for parking, because like I would try to explain to my mom like finding parking at Montclair is like a needle in a haystack. And like I missed
100% agree with you.
last year. I missed I think it was stats like 3 or 4 times just because of parking. And like you guys know,
I hate stats.
you guys know.
I hate stats.
I
do
love
too.
stats. I'm weird.
Not exactly. Yeah, she
I
got like a
hated
97. So
And you guys know how stats is. It's like, okay, you go in, you check in. If you don't check in within the 10-minute, now 5-minute window,
yeah,
you have to go tell the missus behind the computer, like, hey, like, I was late for this reason. And like that stressed me out, and just the whole like I don't trust car park. I don't trust parking garages, because people don't know how to drive up there. Like, I've nearly been hit a few times.
it's like a racetrack. It's not necessary.
Yeah. No, I get it. It's just an inconvenience. The
So
whole,
It is
Hell yeah.
parking, having to walk far. I could
Who wants to
imagine.
park
It
and
sucked.
walk 10 miles?
That's
Yeah.
me.
especially after doing
Especially when
like
I
it's
had no shame.
Yeah, I used to see staff trooping.
Yeah, Lex was like, why are you walking and not taking the shuttle? I was like, I'm getting my extra cardio. It'd be like 2 degrees outside. I'm like, hey, it is what it is. It's whatever.
I
Get the
was
zone
freezing
2
to death.
training.
Zone 2 training. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'll let Marco talk first, and then I'll go into it.
Well, the first, let's say 10 days to 2 weeks of the quarantine, I was hyped. I was like, let's go to the basement, because I got the punching bag, the speed bag. I got all the weights. I was like, it's basically like we're in jail. Let's just work out every single day. So that was fun for like the first 2 weeks, and after that, I just got bored. I didn't want to do it. The garage is so small anyway, so you really can't move. And I like to move. I like to spread my arms and like throw things around. So then I would just go for walks, go for runs, but that all gets boring. And I felt I was shrinking. I really wasn't eating. It's not like I was sitting in the house and binging. I wasn't eating.
And you don't even want.
I was just doing homework all day.
Yeah,
And
like,
about the school thing, I feel like if I was a freshman or like early on being a sophomore, I would be stressed out. But so about we were juniors, yeah. So last year I was a junior. It's just school's just a bullshit game. So once you figure it out, there's no reason to be stressed.
You're more
That's
accustomed
just
to
my
it.
opinion, right? So I
No, I
kind of
mean,
knew
yeah, that's agree.
I knew how the
I
game
think
works. I wasn't really scared. Oh, I might fail this. I might fail. It's hard to
Marco's
fail.
just
Like you,
cocky.
that's not what it is. I'm just like, school's a game. It's they don't really care about you. You just got to get the work done.
It's all about the
Yeah.
money.
It is
Right,
all about the
exactly.
money.
business.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not hard because sometimes it can be hard.
No,
But
it
it's
could be
just a
definitely
game.
hard.
Once you figure it out, there's nothing to worry about.
I mean, I think what sucks is I spoke about this with Ryan, but the nutrition aspect of our degrees, they did not really teach us enough about working with clients one on one. I
It's all
think that's
corporate
the
wellness.
biggest mistake. I think that's the biggest mistake because now we have to go out of our ways to kind of develop our own style and see what works. And there's going to be a lot of trial and errors. I'm grateful that I worked in a gym last year and know how to kind of have the mentality going into certain things that everybody thinks differently. That's why speaking about quarantine, how we all develop something different throughout this entire thing. Obviously, there's a lot of good things. I mean, I got to spend more time with family, which is always a positive. We were all more or less arguing every day and being home all the time.
It comes
Uh,
with it.
it just helped a little bit more, I would say. But having the gym, me and Ryan are in that similar character where the gym was like a safe space for me to go when I was feeling mentally unstable and not having that. And I could not work out at home. I couldn't do it. I still like, I'll be, oh, I'm gonna do abs today at home. I think of
You need
home
the
as
environment.
somewhere, yeah, I think of like home as somewhere I'm relaxing and doing homework or just being with family. I don't see it as, oh, I'm gonna get gym stuff done. And I live in a
Yeah.
family house of 10 people. There's nothing that's gonna get done in this house. There's
Fun.
Not
nothing
gonna
for
go.
me to
You
do.
can't go by the foot of
Yeah.
your bed and do push-ups.
No,
not fun.
absolutely not. It's just not something. If I'm working out at home, I felt like it was more half-assed than anything else.
Right.
'Cause my
Just a
bed
maintenance
was
thing.
my bed was right there next to me, and I was like, oh, you know what? It's like maybe I'll just go eat a little bit of ice cream and sit down and kind of
A little
talk
bit.
about my feelings. A little bit more, like a gallon. It's
I
fine. You
ate-
don't have
Ice cream's always good.
I had, speaking of ice cream, like a little pint, like in February. Like I remember I went to ShopRite with my mom and like I got not the enlightened ice cream, but it's a different kind of ice cream and it's like borderline keto. I remember I threw that in the blender with almond milk and like 2 scoops
The
of peanut butter
entire thing.
protein. Yo, best shit I ever made in my entire life.
Flat. I can imagine.
I mean, I ate a lot, definitely, I would say. My diet was, I mean, it was clean stuff at least, but then there was some towards the end of the night where I started developing, I felt like I was developing my old habits, which kind of freaked me out. And trying to keep myself stable, like Lex was talking about, we were in a lot. I had 7 classes last semester, I believe, too. And I was used to having online classes, thankfully, because I took a semester online only, and that was for prereqs. And having those classes that weren't necessarily supposed to be online go to online was a big transition because some of these professors don't even know how to open a computer. So it just stresses the person out even more because you feel lost. And for me, just studying throughout the whole thing and feeling almost enclosed, not more or less like my home was my home. I didn't want to be here as much as I thought that you would want to be home. And having to quarantining for 2 weeks and being home doing nothing and not being able to get paid. And obviously, a lot of people lost their jobs.
That's
and
the scariest part.
I worked throughout the whole pandemic, and I'm still working because we're still in this pandemic. But working and seeing it firsthand on how effective it really was for everybody. And a lot of people say this thing is fake, and seeing it on both ends. Vitamin C's off of these shelves was like gone for months. We
Yeah, I
did not
remember you
see
saying that.
we did not see toilet paper for years. We didn't
Yeah.
see
Oh man, I just had
Lysol.
that conversation with my dad today about like toilet paper and stuff. My dad was like, he went somewhere. He was like, I went to the store. He was like, they were out of this, and this, but they still had toilet paper. I'm like, oh, just give it time. Give it time.
Yeah.
But it's crazy because it's getting worse. My mom went to ShopRite the other day. She was like, you cannot find like a lot of shit because
Yeah, no beef, no chicken.
everybody's piling up thinking that it's gonna
Oh,
happen again, which I honestly think it's
Everybody needs to relax.
borderline.
Oh
It's,
wait,
yeah.
I gotta tell this story because we're talking about that. Marco said chicken, and that just like I just got
Triggered
PTSD.
something?
I got
We
PTSD
have
from
a
when this
vegan
first
on the
started.
phone.
Oh, I want to know. Tell us everything.
So in March, it was while we were on break still. I went to I was hanging out with my friends because we were like recording content here, and we went to Vitamin Shop, and then we went to ShopRite needed to get some food. My mom was away in Florida, so I had the house to myself, and I was taking care of the house, taking care of my dogs, taking care of a bunny, like all this shit.
A
And
bunny.
yeah, and so like I went to ShopRite with my friends, and like I don't get mad like easily. Like I'm a very patient person.
Lie.
Yeah. So
Lie.
like my friends and I like we went to the like meat department of ShopRite, and like there was no chicken, no nothing, and like I got pissed off. I was like, it's gonna take a virus to have people start eating like healthier, and like the fact that people need a reminder to wash their hands, and now
That's still
you know what?
freaks
That's
me
a
out.
I barely use wash my hands, so
and like
to be honest,
I'm not a scientist, but like
but
this goes back to like basic like freshman year of high school biology. Like eventually like your body and like this virus that it will eventually like build up an immunity to whatever. So like they were like, yeah, make sure you wash your hands like this many times a day and sanitize them. And I'm just like, oh, we're fucked. Like, long story short, we were at the store, and I freaked out, and I was like, I was like, I wasn't yelling, but I was talking pretty loud, and I was like, this is fucking bullshit. Like everyone's starting to eat healthy now. Like maybe if you guys stopped eating your fast food and all this garbage shit, you wouldn't be at a higher risk to maybe catch this virus. And my friends were like, dude, you gotta stop. And I was like, nah, man, this is like, it became personal to me at that point. Full on Michael Jordan, it became personal for me.
I mean, I feel like also it's a good thing though. I know it got really annoying seeing all the social media posts. I know it annoyed me, but having people develop, training throughout quarantine and starting to open up their minds to eating healthier just because, they were probably so closed off about the entire thing, and seeing this pandemic, a lot of people have benefited from it, from eating healthy and that aspect. Obviously, they should have done this way before, like you were saying, but it also shines a light on the fitness industry, how much it kind of developed throughout this whole pandemic. Because now everybody's posting at home workouts everybody's posting recipes online, everybody's trying to sell their online programming. It's a lot of stuff that's been reverted online. It was online to a certain extent, but now everybody's trying to get their hands on, oh, I'm going to do online training, I'm going to do online nutrition, whatever. What sticks out for your brand versus another brand? How Lex has her brand, there's also another vegan competing meal prep brand that's by my house. Like, what tears her away from, say, that person? It's a lot of stressors that everybody's kind of going through all at the same time. And especially in my field, being a nutritionist and a strength coach and having 2 in 1, there's a lot of people that have that degree. And what makes me stand out from other people, it's about building yourself. Right. And I think throughout this whole pandemic, for you guys and for us, we all built something out of our platforms, each individual of us. I saw that, and I think it benefited us the most, being able to sit down and say, okay, I really want to do this with my brand. Lex has been killing it with her shit, I know that, and Marco has been posting a lot. Me and Ryan are posting workout content, and it helps. And it's just something that more or less motivated us to do more, to gain more attraction, to then further promote our brands individually or together. And that's why I decided that I wanted to do this podcast. And I told Ryan that I would want him to be on this with me, and being able to give you guys a platform, but also just speak our minds about certain things, because you guys are both different people. We're all different people. We all went through certain things, and hearing from, say, somebody listening, maybe they want to go into veganism and they don't know where to start, and they could just easily hit on you and say, okay, this is where I want to do. Where do I even start with this? And people are learning more and more throughout this entire thing. And I think with the shutdown, a potential quote unquote shutdown that's supposed to happen, hopefully, I know Chicago, they actually excluded gyms from shutting down. They shut everything else down. They didn't shut the gyms down. So it's that more or less helps me with my mental and physical health is being in the gym. And that's something obviously it's not for everybody. Everybody could be so a lot of people like being home or a lot of people like being outdoors and running. I'm not in high school anymore where soccer was like a big sport that I was playing since I was a kid, and being outside and running and practicing outside like an athlete, it's a lot different. My training has shifted in a way where I like being in the gym and I like seeing my friends. The last day that we all saw each other, I really did not think that was going to be the last time. And I think that's what triggered me the most. We were all sitting here on FaceTime, like, wow, I saw you guys a month
Wait.
ago and we were
Yeah, it
normal.
was the night we went
We were-
out to Jose
we were
Tejas.
Yeah, we were like, well, this is fine. When the COVID's not going to hit the United States, we're tripping.
2 weeks
And then
later.
it just slowly
It just wipes out the
started
whole world.
going crazy. And
China trying to take over.
it's been a year since the first case. And
Yeah.
that's insane. Like the fact that it just went like that, and now we're still
The first
here.
case was in November in the United States.
No,
Yeah,
in China.
No, in
In
China.
China.
But I went.
Some stupid
I had
people.
my birthday. I had my birthday in Hoboken, and then right after that was like February was the talk, and then March we were like, oh yeah, like we're gonna say goodbye for spring break and we're gonna come back. Nope, that was it. Game
Psych.
over. And that takes a lot out of somebody. A lot of people want to be physically there with one another. We went into
I'd rather be
grad
on
pictures.
campus, honestly.
Yeah, we went into grad pictures and it was like, wow, we couldn't have a graduation, like a real graduation, but all these other people can have house parties and they could go do this and that when I wanted to take my education and walk. And I think that
Right.
was stripped away from us in general. Obviously, my degree is framed and it's an accomplishment. Lex can attend.
Yeah,
attest
but
to
you
this one too.
deserve a moment of recognition,
we
physical recognition.
all wanted
Yeah, Marco,
to
let him know.
be able to. Yeah, we all wanted it. We still
Like
want
you
it.
had to pay all this
But-
money. You had to walk up those stairs. You had to do all this. Which it's not that hard, but you still had to do it, and you still had to be, like a product of the system for a while. So you deserve a moment.
I mean, you dreamt about that when you were a kid. Like, I'm gonna graduate college. I'm gonna
Right.
walk down that
And
aisle.
it's here.
and
It's
we're
coming.
gonna
I can't,
all-
Ryan, we're almost here.
Yeah, you guys are almost there. You guys are tasting it, and it's gonna suck because you guys don't even. I look at honestly, since we're on this topic, but looking at little kids wearing masks, they probably don't even know what the hell's going on. They're
Yeah,
just wearing it.
That's what my
Have you
mom
ever
said.
thought about that?
That's
You
It's
what
thought
fun
about
to them.
that,
They have
like,
like all different
wow.
colors, different their favorite
They're
character in
like,
the front.
this is
Good for them.
cool. This is great. We're gonna just keep our mask on.
That's what my
But they
mom
don't
said
The
to your
know.
life.
innocence. I love it.
Miss it. miss without feeling as stressed as I am in general. But that was a big effect for me. And I don't know how you guys really bounced back, but once everything started opening up again, how did you guys bounce back from that? Like what made you, for me, the gyms opened up again. I was working in my internship. So
Me
having
too.
the gym,
All summer.
me and
My
Mark,
internship, not fun.
yeah, Marco and I we were lucky enough to be in that sector where we were able to work out, and not a lot of people were able to work out until the gym started opening up again. But what made you kind of just, all right, everything is kind of back open again. I'm gonna go and pretend like everything's fine, but also be cautious at the same time because now it's getting a little bit worse. Now it's kind of, I've been dodging bullets, believe it or not.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I
need to-
dodged a bullet recently.
I feel like I need to stop. So, how did you guys sit there and say, okay, everything's opening up again. We're back to normal-ish. We're gonna still have to wear a mask. But what made you
Right.
say, all right, I'm gonna go back to doing whatever I was doing before? And how are you guys doing with school? Like, what?
Right.
How is that mentally affecting you versus like if you were on campus?
Well, I know for me, like, if the pandemic didn't happen, my brand, like RDA, wouldn't be a thing. Right? It would be a thing. It just wouldn't be as,
Prominent.
as exactly. Because I just realized I was just going to school and working at my job. I really never put time into my own personal brand, and the pandemic helped me do that. So when everything just started opening up, I started, working with people more, started filming with them more, just started posting to it. So I just got busy with it.
Mm.
And in terms of school, I just, just do it, whatever. It's almost done. I just do the assignment, submit it. That's all it is right now. We're not
Which
learning.
sucks. Which sucks because you're not learning anything.
I've
I
done
don't
more
know,
assignments
let's-
this semester than 2 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I don't know how like grad school is with you and how that's helping. Like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, so the whole transition for me, I was doing my internship at the time, like you guys, to like kind of finish up my thing. I'm not gonna say where because I don't have anything good to say about it. But during the pandemic, I actually was working during the pandemic as a dietetic assistant at a hospital, and I actually left my job there. Yeah, I left my job there for I worked there for about a year. And I left there, you know, I would say like towards the end of the pandemic, like right around July, I left, and I kind of always knew I wanted to do my own thing. Like I have a lot of different business ideas. Total Health is just one of them, but I have a lot of things in the works and that I'm working on involving around nutrition, sustainability, and veganism. So I always knew that I don't want to work for anybody else. I just kind of feel like I have all these great, amazing ideas. Why am I going to work for somebody else? When, you know what I mean, I'm just going to be like just another worker. Like I don't want that. Like I have a lot of great ideas that I think could benefit society and people. So I'm going to, you know, keep doing that. So yeah, that was me. So I left my job, and then with transitioning back into grad school, it wasn't, you know, grad school, there's just like a lot of assignments, I guess you can say, and a little bit more in depth, but I'm loving it so far. I learn something new every day and I love to learn. So yeah, I can't complain. And I'm really grateful because getting my master's is just like a goal of mine, just for me.
Yeah. And then Ryan.
So when the gyms reopened, I was like, all right, cool. Like I worked out at home for.
You were so happy.
Oh yeah, I was like, yeah, life is. I like with school starting back up. Like school started a week after my birthday, and I was like I remember like I was on the phone with my therapist because like mental health's important. And like I told him, I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be going to school, like doing school from home and being stressed out about school without having the gym and being stuck at home for whatever amount of time we have still. So when they announced the gyms were reopening, I was like, thank you. But like I really didn't go out that much throughout it all. Like I was at home up until June. Like the first weekend in June I went down the shore, and then every weekend since then I haven't been home. So like, I've been cautious. Like most recent like freak out with the whole like coronavirus thing was like recently I got tested negative, thank God. But
yay,
you know, sanitizing after we go into the grocery store, wherever we go, after the gym. No, it's just it's normal.
It's gotten crazy. It's normal now. It's like a normalcy in our lives. Like sanitize before and after. Sanitize. I mean, there's still a lot of people that don't do it, which is really bad. I've seen
people
a lot.
Are gross.
People are disgusting, but the general of it all, like coming down to it and like concluding it, but a lot of good things came out of the pandemic and a lot of bad things, and I don't know how the shutdown is going to go for the second wave, and I don't know, you know, where we're going to be at, but
worry about that when it gets here.
Yeah, that's another big stressor, I feel like, for me. So, but for everybody else, we all are building our own brands, and it's proves to everybody that's listening to this also that you can overcome certain obstacles in your life, whether this was just something that I feel like we all needed to just snap out of it and work on ourselves. So I mean, you could talk too, and having the opportunity to just sit down and understand like what you want to do. I know for me, wanting to work with athletes has been like ultimately since I think my freshman year of college. I wanted to work with athletes in nutrition, and now being able to coach and train and do things that make me feel better about myself, and then projecting that onto the athletes, like even like they're younger but having this job and being able to do that hands on has made me realize that I wanted to do it. And if I didn't go through this pandemic, I think that I would not have found my internship that I had. And then going into my job right now, they hired me after, which I'm very grateful for, because after you graduate, it's not that easy to find a job. And being able to, I would love to work for myself, and trying to build my page on Instagram and trying to go with this podcast and seeing everything and more or less exploring the openness of certain things on social media, but working there and being able to be on my own and be myself with other people that are trying to build you up has been just like an eye-opening experience, because you would think that people are more selfish when they're trainers because you're competing against one another, but this is more family based, and people are trying to bring you up along with them and bring their knowledge to your light and figure out what you can learn every single day. And not going through this pandemic, I don't think I would have ever found it. And I think school probably would have been a little bit more stressful. It was stressful, but I think I passed a little easier being online versus
Right.
like in person, because with finals and all. But it was definitely me and Lex and I we took this internship during the summer, so it was not fun, and having to work full time and do work on top of it for the internship class. And then I had to take a additional summer class, because Montclair is so great with calculating your credits, and realizing that
Yeah, very.
I had 119 credits instead of 120 because somebody messed
Oh
up in the
Yeah.
my
department.
goodness.
I
So
have to take
I
social
had to
dance
take
for that.
and I had to take a 6-week fitness course that was condensed from everything that you could
Wait,
think of and all that.
they
But
made.
yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Let's not talk about
I
it.
won't talk about our
So
school. I don't. I'm not gonna.
just
We're not gonna
yeah,
get sued
We
by
need
the
better
president of
advisors,
Montclair.
honestly. I feel like I could do
Just-
their job way better.
Academic advisors suck. They all
My
suck.
my advisor
Yeah.
emailed me, or like I emailed him because like I'm not doing good at all, to be honest. And like I told him, I was like, look, man, like I'm just got a whole bunch of shit going on, like, can make a day to talk. And he was like, okay, like literally the email in like 3 sentences. Here's a Zoom link. Here are times. If you can't make it for these times, email me and we'll try to schedule something. Please make it 3 days prior. And I'm like, okay, you're fucking useless. Like I'm gonna hand.
It's not personable at all.
Gonna-
Like an
Which is
understanding.
crazy, which is crazy because you're online now. You would think these advisors would just be on their computers helping
they're at home.
students.
Trust me, they're
They're
at home.
at home. They're not doing
They ain't
anything.
doing dog shit.
It's insane.
They're
It's
watching Netflix.
insane. But I really like the fact that I love the fact that you guys are my first two guests. I agreed to this, so I appreciate you both being on and speaking your word. And it means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to Ryan too, because he knows Marco. He's no Marco, but being able to connect, almost like more or less networking, and now you and Lex know each other, and being able to, we could all talk amongst ourselves about certain things, and being able to learn from one another and being able to help each other grow, which is going to be great. But having the platform that we all Ryan and I developed, and having this is just going to help hopefully spread word and spread awareness of generally what is going on in the world, but also how Lex spoke about eating disorders. Not a lot of people talk about that, and it needs to be talked about. And having this is just giving you more of like an open space where you could talk about it and feel comfortable. And I appreciate you saying your story, and Marco as well. And I don't know if Ryan has anything else after.
So to
I have
go,
one thing.
Go on the
Just go,
topic,
Scott.
like, so during the shutdown, like I had just started my weight cut for the summer, and so like me, I'm a very like strict like dieter, like borderline kind of like almost
Obsessive.
almost keto, yeah. So like you guys were talking about like the eating disorders and stuff like that. So I remember during the summer, like every weekend, like I would eat clean Monday to like Saturday afternoon night if I went out. And like just thinking about it, the amount of food I would eat, like the amount of garbage food I would eat after eating clean for like 6.5 days, like I realized it's not healthy, and you should always like have a cheat meal at least once a week just to give yourself that like mental clarity. But don't overindulge, because a whole lot of food, and it's not good to just eat and eat and eat until like you're gonna pop, because I've done that like once or twice.
Or 500 times.
Yeah, or 500 times,
Or 500 times, yeah.
But like I don't know, that just kind of like hit me, because I'm very strict when I diet, especially when I cut weight. And I don't know, that kind of like hit me to like lighten up a little bit. Not be
More or
too
less throughout this pandemic.
Yeah.
You mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think having a relationship with food and being aware of what you're putting into your body is so important, and coming to terms with it. I mean, when I was losing weight, I felt like it was a chore almost. And I didn't have a healthy relationship with food at all when I first started. I was very keen on just losing the weight so I could just go back to eating the way that I was, which was like probably 5,000 calories a day of junk food, which is disgusting to even think about. But looking back, I could eat a candy bar or something and I won't feel all right. Well, I just got set back and now I'm gonna go eat like an extra 1,000 to 2,000 calories because I'm already fucked up. That's it. It's whatever.
I'm
But
happy. Keep going.
I'm not like that. Yeah,
I'm
I'm not
I'm
like that at
happy
all.
I learned about flexible dieting like at a young, like I don't want to say a young age because I'm only 21, but like I remember learning
Baby.
I remember learning about it when I was like 16, 17 years old, and I'm like I was like, okay, like I could probably see myself doing this in the future. And now like I do it a little bit more. Like I eat clean most of the day, and then like depending on what I have for my pre-workout meal, like today I had rice and little bites as a carb, like because I'm 5 years old and I like to eat little bites before I train on heavy compound days. So gotta have fun with it, I guess.
I mean, for me, even being more open about trying different things. I know Lex and we had a conversation, I think probably a year ago, about how I take 2 months out of the year and I strictly am vegan for 2 months to clean out my body and being able to. I started doing that when I was 18, just for religious purposes, and knowing what I know now and knowing from the knowledge that you've brought on to me also, and being open to taking advice and criticism in that aspect, but going into how to incorporate plant-based protein and how to incorporate, because everybody goes into thinking that vegans can't gain muscle and they can't do this and that when they don't physically want to educate themselves going forward on what they can do to swap out certain things and feel a lot better. And I'm on a food reset now for work, and nutritionist that I work with, she made this plan, and currently I've been eating plant-based for 2 weeks now, and I already could see that change because I do it 2 months out of the year. But not everybody is open to that mindset of, okay, maybe if I do change my habits and go into this, maybe I'll feel a lot better. Or, I haven't touched dairy in 6 years. I haven't touched any, like, almond milk has been a staple in my life since I lost all that weight.
So
And
no whey
if
proteins and nothing like that.
I could have whey, I just don't like, I don't drink a lot for me to have an upset stomach. I really can't. Like,
Right.
I've realized that even going to, say, like an ice cream shop or a frozen yogurt place, I will go for the vegan option. That's just something that automatically I know it won't fuck up my stomach. So I do it. I'll go, and it tastes amazing. Having a fruit sorbet, just, I don't know, for me tastes a lot better than anything else, going as far as frozen yogurt goes. But having the open mindset, I I'm only open to eating as clean as possible, and then, like cheating every once in a while, if not, being open to having food as being in a relationship with food and having that positive aspect from food and not feeling guilty after it. It comes with your mentality and where you have to progress as a person in order to get to that point. If you look at food and you're like, all right, this has this many calories, and if I eat this, then I'm only stuck with this left, and just being obsessive over the numbers, you're not going to go anywhere in life with that. It's just not going to end well. And that's what I was doing for a while. And Lex, you probably did the same thing, if I'm not mistaken, and you could touch on it a little. And just overall, my habits from even going into college, like going into Montclair, right into the nutrition program and seeing how everybody was eating, it's like, oh shit, I need to get my shit together and I need to eat whatever that you guys are eating, because clearly I'm not doing anything right. And being conscious of that, because going into a class, I mean, Lex, you brought vegan food all the time to class. It's like, oh shit, maybe I should. I was like, oh god. I was like, maybe. I mean, now I feel like she's judging me for eating chicken, so maybe let me just like cut it off a little bit, start incorporating more like holistic, like nutritional foods into my diet, and speaking to you, and even speaking to, say, Cassidy, about like the importance of not being
Cassidy.
able to spike your blood sugar levels in order for you to not become diabetic or pre-diabetic or anything in that aspect, and seeing how she is more knowledgeable in that aspect, where I'm not even close to being as knowledgeable as she is as far as diabetes go. And having you guys all have different individual like niches, where it's like, okay, Lex is vegan, that is her like niche, like here,
Niche,
this is
yeah.
what, yeah, like that's your thing, and we all have that. And being open to that, I feel like not a lot of people are as open to just exploring different things. And it comes down to, how do you speak to a client and how do you get them to do and believe in you, almost, because that's the hardest thing, especially now. All you get is people that want to lose weight. Like, all right,
Yeah.
how are you going to make me lose weight? And how are you going to sit here and tell me that carbs are good, which I'm pretty sure all of us have heard that carbs are bad.
Yep.
All of us. And
Yeah, we've all heard that.
how do you talk to somebody that's not even knowledgeable in nutrition and tell them, like, you cutting off carbs is not good?
Yeah.
It's not good.
You know what's crazy? They won't believe you.
They won't until
They'll be like, you're lying. The TV says this.
I had to explain that to someone last week, actually, because like the kid texted me. He was like, "Yo, I heard like taking protein with water is better for you and it'll help you lose weight, and like taking it with like almond milk is bad." And I was like, all right, like, hold
People's
on.
questions are interesting.
You know-
There's so many things that I want to touch upon that you guys all said, and I'm like gonna write it down because I like want to mention it. You
I
guys
was
all
like-
talked about
You almost have
many
to take
different
it from where it's
things.
coming from and realize that they don't know.
Yeah,
So it shouldn't shock you what you hear from their mouth.
yeah. I told him, I was like, "Look, man, the only way you're gonna gain weight or gain fat is if you overeat. So like, just don't overeat. Like, know your limits."
I love the if you eat after 8, you're gonna gain weight.
Yo, man, I'm gonna eat two times before I go to bed. Like, that's just what I do.
At
What-
my mom. If she's
I'm gonna eat low for bed. Right
One of
before I brush
my-
my teeth.
One of my friends told me, like, he got obsessed with like counting calories and stuff, and like I looked at him, I was like, "Dude, just worry about your macros. Worry about your macros. You'll be okay." Just with the numbers, like my training, my senior year of high school, Marco can attest to this. I used to work out 4 hours a day, and so I used to like weight train for an hour and a half, and then I would do like an hour and a half to 2 hours of cardio on the Stairmaster. That entire time, I was having 75 grams of carbs a day, and it wasn't fun because like once you're like an hour,
Obviously.
once you're like 45 minutes into like intense cardio, it like you're shot, and doing that an
Like,
extra
it's
for,
gone.
and doing that an extra 45 minutes after, and not having any carbs after you work out. You should always have carbs after you work out. I don't know, like
Side note, yeah.
just little
100%.
little thing, do that. And like Marco, you remember, like in a month and a half, 2 months, bro, I went from like 235, I was down to 180 pounds, like shredded. But like I learned, like, that's not healthy. Like I lost muscle, and of course like I lost a lot of body fat. But over the years, like I've learned like to periodize everything, and
Mhm.
that's my Lex,
Yeah,
you
I
have
know.
you have
There's
a-
so many
Some
different things
stuff
that you
you
guys
guys don't know
talked
this.
about.
But people
I
are
don't
like, "What is Ryan doing?" Like, he was like, known for this. They were like, "What is he on? Like, what's going on?"
I was that fucking
What is he
guy.
on?
People have told me like I came out of like the shutdown bigger than I was going into it, and like I look at like pictures of myself before and after, I'm like, either you guys are on drugs or like I do look better than I did before.
I feel like I
Isn't
look
it amazing
worse,
how
but
people
anyway.
just like perceive people as like
Dude, I was getting
the
called.
way you see yourself may not be right.
People were saying I was on juice like going into sophomore year, bro. Like I put on 20 pounds over the summer, and people were like, "Oh yeah, he's juicing." And like now I'm like, if I was juicing, I would have veins coming out of every part of my body, and definitely wouldn't look
They're
like
just
this.
they're just insecure with themselves.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Facts.
Lex.
Oh yeah, there's just so many things. Wow. Like first, I want to address what Ryan was talking about, and kind of both. I think you guys both referred to it as like a cheat meal, and like how I approach it with my clients. I don't say like cheat meal. Like I think I'm all about sustainable health and nutrition, as well as like balancing out your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I feel like just the, like key words, how we like reference things, it could be like a mental game, like both of you guys saying like, oh, my cheat meal and this and that, but I'm saying like, it doesn't need to be a cheat meal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think like
Right.
just primarily what you're putting in your body should be seen as like nutrition, you know what I mean? Things that are going to fuel you, things that are going to help you live like a long life, things that are going to make, like happy, like a lot of plants, legumes, whole grains, nuts and seeds. And then like, but ice cream makes me happy too. And like, I want to have a cookie and I want to have 2 glasses of red wine on Friday night. I want to have you know what I mean? Like I want to eat these things. I just think that we need to stop like looking at it as so like black and white, like cheat meal, this, that, or good and bad food. I think it really needs to come down to like balance. Sorry, that's my dog. I think it really needs to come down to like just like a balance, and that's kind of what I really promote, like with Total Health and like with my clients, like just, you know, sustainable nutrition, having like being obsessive over calories and counting all these macronutrients and having all these restrict rules and say I can only have one cheat meal a week. Like that's where things spiral, and that's where we get these obsessive behaviors. And honestly, even if you're like doing that now, like as you know, maybe like you're training or you're doing a cut or you're doing a shred, like that's okay, because you have like these little goals that you want to do, etc. But you have to keep in mind that that is not sustainable. When you look at healthy nutrition, I feel like all these fad diets, like detox diets, keto, or just anything that, you know, that we see, you know, in our field, I just think we're really missing out on the point. And, you know, I think
you're just drinking vitamins with the detox.
Yeah, like I
that's
did a
all
whole
you're
thing
doing
on that. We just like have all these things, and I just think we're missing the whole point here. Like we have 2/3 of Americans are obese. We have it's like almost normalized to hear people with type 2 diabetes, and that can be prevented and that can be reversed. Or with cancer, even a thing. Processed meat is a group 1 carcinogen, and red meat is a group 2 carcinogen. So these are cancer causing things. You know, all these different things. So cancer, obesity, hypertension. A lot of this stuff, you know, to a certain extent can be prevented, and a lot of it has to do with lifestyle as well as, you know, dietary habits and stuff. So I just think we're missing the point as like a society, and I think it's really important that all of us as like nutrition professionals, as soon to be Ryan and Marco, but I think we just need to really like be keen on like with the people that we're, you know, talking to and these clients that we're helping,
educating,
that we have, that their minds are fragile, you know what I mean? Like we are in a society where you have to be skinny, or you have to look like X, Y, and Z to be perceived as like good looking or perfect. I just think we have to, like, we're losing sight of the importance, and that's the importance of our fellow humans living a long, happy life, disease free. So yeah.
I mean, back to the whole cheat meal thing. A cheat meal doesn't mean you go from chicken and broccoli and salad to like a burger and fries. A cheat meal just means you're ignoring your macros for a certain amount of time.
But yeah,
everybody has their own perspective.
But I'm just saying, like, even calling, I just feel like things like, you know, I feel like things that it's all about our mindset. If we're saying like, oh, this is a cheat meal or something, like, why you don't need, I just feel like we don't need to call it that. Like, I just feel like if you want to have a cookie on Monday night and you want to have pizza on Friday night, like, I just think like live your life accordingly and just try to like cook majority of your foods, to cook majority of your foods at home, you know, try to, you know, eat healthy nutritional foods or whatever. I just think that things like that are not going to be sustainable for you like long term. And
well, that goes back to food being, you know, you have a healthy relationship with food. That goes right back into it. If you can sit there and say like, all right, I can have a cookie on Monday and I know I'm not going to spiral and eat like 50 of them in a sitting, which that was me back then because I didn't have that healthy relationship and sustainability with food. Now I'll look at it like, all right, if I really want this and I'm craving this, I have to eat it, because I know if I don't, then I'm going to just keep thinking about it the entire night and then binge on it. I was a very bad binge eater when growing up, and that's why I gained all the weight that I did. And having to build that mentality over that food is not the enemy. Like nothing that you're putting into your body should be like, I regret this. This is bad. This is not good. I don't want to do this anymore. Fuel. Food is fuel. And that's why both of you, and having that, that's why when you go into talking to a client and saying that this is a diet is temporary and lifestyle is permanent. So
I never use the word diet ever with a client.
Ever, because that just automatically just puts in their mind like, okay, I am gonna do this temporarily, and it's only gonna be for 3 months. I'm gonna lose all the weight, and then I'll go right back into it. That just brings it into Weight Watchers and all these other stupid
anything like that.
Detox these, So that's why we all individually have platforms to better educate the people that we come across, and it's either if they take it, if they don't, then they're gonna have to learn the hard way. But people that are actually open-minded and hearing you out as a person, that just, you can take somebody's life and just turn it upside down in a positive aspect, and being able to do that in our field is just so memorable, and I just love feeling like that all the time. And I know you guys do, obviously you guys do the same thing, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But having clients say something back to you that's positive is like, wow, I feel so good about myself now, and I could just go about my day knowing that I'm impacting other people's lives.
100%.
I agree. All right. Yep. Ryan, you have anything else? No? Are you guys are all good?
Had
I
a
mean,
good
it's
time.
been awesome. This is awesome. I appreciate both of you for coming on. It's honestly been a
Thank
great.
you.
I don't even know how long
Thank
we've
you
been
for having
talking.
me.
Yeah, of course. And their Instagrams will be linked in the description. And obviously everybody should check them out and follow them on Instagram. They're amazing people, and they're both very knowledgeable, as well as obviously you should be following me and Ryan at this point. But if you don't, then it's gonna be in there also. But overall, thank you guys, and thank you for listening. And if you have any other questions going forward, we'll be here. And if you have questions for Marco and Lex, their DMs are definitely
We'll
open.
be back. Don't worry.
And they'll be back for round whatever of these episodes. And I'll bring it to Ryan. But thank you guys for listening. It means a lot to us.
Guys, so much for the love on the last episode. I don't know what the download to view ratio was, but thank you guys for the love. Thank you for supporting me and Steph. Check out Marco. Check out Lex. As always, I'm Ryan DB. She's Nutritional Freak, aka Steph, my best friend. And we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Bye, guys.